Hey everybody, welcome back to the internet once again. I was a little busy today, so I was kind of considering skipping making a video today, but then I saw a bunch of comments sort of cheering me on, so thanks to all my great subscribers I've gotten so far. So here's some entitled parents stories. Starting with, "You are forcing my child to become mentally ill." Yes, you read that title right. For some context, I'm a 16-year-old girl, and I'm extremely thin due to an insanely fast metabolism that runs in my family. I went to a park with my boyfriend to take my dog for a walk, and everything was going fine. Okay, so here we go. So me and my boyfriend were just minding our business, walking my dog Freddy and talking about the new Captain Marvel movie we had seen the previous night. We're crazy Marvel fans. As we're walking down the path, a wild Karen appears with her 2 kids. When she saw me, she let out a way too dramatic gasp and yanked her kids away from me and my boyfriend. My boyfriend says, "Excuse me, is there a problem, miss?" She says, "Yes, it's you," she said, pointing her finger at me. "How dare you walk around like that? There are children here." I say, "I'm sorry, I'm not following." She says, "You're teaching my children to be anorexic." I knew where this was going. I often get comments about my appearance that I'm usually mistaken for having an eating disorder. He says, "No, she isn't. Please leave us alone." We started walking away when my boyfriend tries to calm me down as I'm very insecure about myself. Then, the entitled mom grabs my wrist and tugs me back. I say, "What the heck? Let go of me." "No, I'm gonna have you arrested for teaching my children to have an eating disorder." I haven't even talked to them, and I'm not anorexic. You shouldn't throw that word around. Some people are very sensitive. My sister struggled with an eating disorder, which really messed up our family, so I don't like the subject. My boyfriend pushes her away from me. Entitled mom screams like a banshee. "Assault! Someone call the police!" She was fake crying and her kids looked miserable, like this was regular behavior for the entitled mom. People were just staring at this point. I say, "Just leave us alone, you dimwit." She got red in the face. She raised her hand to hit me, but my boyfriend grabbed her hand and pushed her back. She screamed again. A kind man notices us. It wasn't that hard to hear her screaming, and walks over. "What's wrong, ma'am?" She says, She's forcing my angels to become anorexic just like her." The kind man looked over at me and my boyfriend. I'm on the verge of tears, and my boyfriend is standing with his arms folded and a pissed look on his face. The kind man says, "I can assure you that's not what happened. I saw and heard the whole thing. If you don't leave these 2 alone, I'll have to call the police." She was fuming at this point. She grabs her 2 kids and rushes out of the area. Never saw her again and don't want to. Karens these days, am I right? What, you think you could just walk around being skinny and not go to jail for that? I get a little bit of this sometimes. I mean, I don't have people coming up to me telling me that I'm making people anorexic, but I'm 5'10" and 130 pounds, so I'm pretty skinny too. I know how it feels to have a pretty fast metabolism. Anyways, on to story number 2 called "I Am Not Cross-Dressing." So I'm a first-generation Vietnamese, meaning that I'm the first generation of my family that came to America after the Vietnam War. I'm a traditionalist too, so during the celebration of Tet, which is Lunar New Year, pronounced Tut, I wear an outfit known as an ao ye, or long shirt. It is a long silken robe and I love it. I wore it the entire day and would often invite our neighbors, and we had new neighbors, so we decided to invite them to welcome them to the hood. This entitled mother and her crotch maggot entitled son. The talk goes like this. So the son says, "Why are you in a dress?" I dump a bunch of info about how it's traditional garb and it's actually a symbol of high social status. He says, "But dresses are girly." I say, "No, it's manly from Vietnam. Like how a plaid kilt is manly in Scotland." He says, "Whatever, you're stupid." I disagree. I'm very smart. My IQ is quite high compared to an average American, and I've read literary works many people have never heard of. So he leaves. I go to my friend who I invited there. When I feel a rather firm smack on the back of my head, I turn around, and it's none other than entitled mom. She says, "Why the heck are you cross-dressing?" I say, "I'm not. Is a Scot cross-dressing when he uses a kilt?" "No, but you are because your cousin, girl, has a dress like yours." "No, they're 2 different styles. One's for males and one's for females." So then my grandma walks in, speaking Vietnamese. She says, "Is she annoying you?" I say, "Yes, she says that I'm cross-dressing." "Your grandson is stupid, and he needs to be disciplined so that he stops cross-dressing. My child shouldn't need to be exposed to that." I say, "She says that I'm stupid and need to be disciplined so that I can stop cross-dressing." Translating it to my grandma. She says, tell her that you're not cross-dressed and that this is traditional garb and a sign of wealth. She says that I'm not cross-dressing and that this is a traditional garb and a sign of wealth. Tell her that she is retarded, I translate. Then my grandma says, well, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. And then I translate it as, she says that you're a jerk and she wants you to leave now. The entitled mom now lunges at me. My grandpa sees this, and he was in ARVN. We had a 70-year-old man with military training. My uncle also sees this, and he was an airborne during the Persian Gulf War. Needless to say, entitled mom was restrained very easily. My grandma, she is very angry, and she was just cooking. General rule in Vietnamese families, don't anger grandma, she will smack you with whatever she has in her hand. In this case, because she was just cooking, she had chopsticks in her hand. Entitled mom and son left very quickly after getting a still hot chopstick to the butt. Then the cops show up. This entitled mom had the gall to call the cops after trying to assault me. I had security camera systems set up at home, and those were inside my house too. She gets arrested, and we're still waiting for a court date. And it's been 3 months. Okay, why does anybody need to just be this stupid? They have to go up to random people who are just minding their own business and then just start criticizing them and making a bunch of assumptions. I think that's some of the worst things that entitled people do. They're just so concerned about what everyone else is doing, and they don't even pay attention to themselves. This third story is called Girl Wanted My Puppy, and her mother demanded I give it to her. So this happened several months back, when I first bought my American Akita puppy. He was really small, as opposed to how big Akitas can get, and we were out on an afternoon walk to the neighborhood park. Owners would usually take their kids and dogs there after school just to chill and socialize. I knew most of the owners, and I was trying to socialize my pup at an early age. A lady eventually walked in with her young daughter, which I'd say was about 6 to 7 years old. They didn't have a dog, but I presumed she just came so that the girl could play with some dogs. She quickly saw my puppy and ran over to him. She started getting really excited and calling for her mother to come look at the puppy. I just smiled as I had no problem up to this point. However, the next thing the girl said was, "Mom, can I keep it?" I looked over at the mother, expecting her to obviously say no, but instead she approached me and asked if her daughter could keep the puppy as she's always wanted one. I firmly told her no. But then she started getting angry at me for not giving away my puppy. I started getting really irritated as we continued to argue for over 5 minutes. I was so caught up in the argument that I didn't even see that the girl was pulling my puppy by its tail, trying to drag him away. I snapped and shoved the little girl to the floor. The mother came charging at me and tried to hit me, so I pushed her too. Everyone was staring at this point, and I told the lady to F off. I grabbed my puppy and walked away to prevent further escalation. The little girl walked off crying with her mother, and she was mumbling stuff under her breath about watching my back. Haven't seen her since, so I guess she was just full of crap. You know, if you're looking to adopt a dog, I wouldn't say that the dog park is where you go to do that. You don't just go up to people and say, "Hi, can I have your family member, please? I really want it." You know, you could just go into an adoption center. Like, they have those around. I don't know. I don't understand these people. And on to the fourth and final story, called Entitled Parents Demand I Break the Law. So I work in a hospital on the neuro floor, so we get everything from spinal surgeries to kidney transplants. Most of our patients tend to be older, either in their 40s or older, but we sometimes get very young people. This week I had the unpleasant task of dealing with the most entitled parents I've ever met. So I'm a nursing aide. We come in and do vitals, round on patients, help them with their needs, bladder scans, ECGs, etc. So this kid is brought up from the med-surg floor, and he's added as one of my patients. I note that this poor kid, who is receiving cranny surgery to remove a tumor, was very young, only 14. I start the admit process, vitals, etc., and my charge nurse calls on our badge/radio and says that the parents are here. I peek my head out and wave them over and begin to introduce myself when the entitled dad interrupts me. "We specifically asked for a view of the water." I respond and tell him that I'm sorry, I don't make the decisions. Please let me finish my admit process and we can go talk to the charge nurse. The entitled mom mutters, "Ridiculous," under her breath. I'm used to unreasonable patients and the patient family requests. It's literally part of the job almost every shift. But I knew by the soccer mom/PTA president mom haircut and "I'm offensive, get over it" shirt from the dad that I was in for a long haul. Rip, I was only 4 hours into a 12-hour day. So the kid is nice, I get him settled and hooked up to the monitors, and I tell the parents that I will talk to the charge nurse. Charge nurse tells me that yes, she did get that request, but unfortunately we are full census and have no spare rooms. She tells me that they keep asking to bring them to her. I let the parents know. They cry and moan, but otherwise I thought they were settling in. About an hour later, the PCA pump is beeping, letting us know that the ketamine drip is nearly done. The doctor had already told the kid and the parents that once the drip is done, they're going to take the kid off of it to start moving towards better and less dangerous medication. The kid understands, agrees, and says that the ketamine makes him feel way too drowsy and funny. Well, I tell my nurse, we go in and unhook him from the drip. We warn him and say he's definitely going to start feeling some pain now, but that they've got some pain meds ordered. Like I said, I thought the parents were getting settled. They'd both been on their phones, getting coffee, etc. Well, after about an hour, the kid calls and asks if he can get something for the aching. I call my nurse. She tells me she's in the middle of something, but can get him some Tylenol. I let the kid know. He's okay with that and maybe an ice pack. This is where the nonsense starts. The mom says, "Why can't he have better pain medicine? My baby is in pain." I say, "Well, ketamine is not good in the long term and it's dangerous. The Tylenol will be at a high dose and I know for sure that it will help." The dad says, "This is bullcrap. First we get swindled out of the room we want, and now you're making my kid sit here in pain? Get me the charge nurse. I'm filing a complaint." I get the charge nurse, and she's unamused and says she can certainly file the complaint, but that's not going to get the kid on ketamine again, or a room, since we literally have no spare rooms on any floor that could take care of the kid. The parents were both talking lowly to each other, basically talking crap about the staff. The poor kid is definitely embarrassed and kept repeating, telling his parents to please stop. He's fine. I come back in and the entitled mom gets in my face and demands more ketamine for her kid. She says, "I went in the room across the hall and saw the nurse had hooked that guy up to more ketamine. Why are you making my child sit in pain? That old guy doesn't need that. Just go get his." I say, "Ma'am, you're not allowed in other patients' rooms and the doctor has very good reasons to take your son off that drip. So please calm down. I'll page a doctor." The dad says, "Listen here, you fat lady. You're making my son sit here in pain." At this point, I walk out, close the door, and call security. My hospital does not deal with patients or families being aggressive or abusive like this. Security comes and escorts the father off the premises. My charge nurse comes and tells me she's going to have to take over care, and I'm thankfully free of this terrible family. So TLDR, entitled parents demand a view of the water in a full census hospital, then demands I illegally hook her son up to more ketamine after his doctor disconnects him from the drip. Entitled dad calls me a fat slob and has to be escorted from the hospital. Whew, well, I hope you guys all made it through these entitled parents stories. They could be pretty rough sometimes. But hopefully you guys all feel better about yourself not being this terrible, I hope. Anyways, that does it for all the stories today, so thanks for watching.